the city's track. And it will butt right up against Charles's property on two sides. And we'll put in the valve setting, gravel the area, and then we'll put a chain link fence, 30 by 40 around the valve setting, and two sides of the chain link fence would be right on the property line. And we do have an access agreement with Charles to, when you come off of West River Road, to turn and come up along the property then to the valve setting. As you go up West River Road now and you make that corner, there's kind of a knob of dirt there. Okay, that's going to look a lot different because the 12-inch pipeline that we're replacing will go right through that and down through that draw and then on up until we come up against the Fromberg-Joliet Road. Or is it the Joliet-Fromberg? Either way. Okay.
Which is the short.
Well, okay. So anyway, in coming up with values, and like I said, it's kind of it is interesting. On the city's first piece of property, and I'll just give this to the mayor, and you guys can look at it later. The first piece of property, we're on there for rough and everything. The pay scale is all paid off of rods. And so we looked at that piece of property as being sort of like pasture and what dryland pasture is worth. And that's where that one is figured at $21 a rod, which is about $350 an acre. And has for a comparison. An easy way to figure how we can convert that is if you take, there's 320 rods in a mile, and so you take the price per rod times 320 and then divide that by the acreage in a 50-foot right-of-way, which is 6.06, then that's where you come up with the price per acre. And so then as you move through Charles's property and you get up onto the tract of land that's up there on the city's satellite dishes or whatever they are, that land there is these documents, and there's exhibits in here too. That land there we figured was a little bit worth more than pasture. We get into what we call ranchettes, and that jumped the price to about $11,600 an acre. And I know it's a touchy thing because you're not going very far, but there again, you're sort of like out of town and then you're in town. And so look at it that way. Now, the third document that I present to you is for the actual valve setting. Those two documents are for, if you choose to go with the new right-of-way, and sign the new easement, we'll pay you for that, along with advanced damages. When it's all said and done, we'll have to, WBI Energy is a FERC regulated, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and so we have to follow protocol that they set and to reestablish vegetation and erosion control and the whole thing, and put things back to where they're supposed to. The valve setting then will take up a piece of property, a roughly 1,200 square feet. That piece of property isn't anything the city will ever be able to do anything with it again, because the valve setting is going to be there as long as there's a need for natural gas. Now, where there's a buried pipeline and you can use the surface is one thing. And and this is what I did is look back from other areas that we purchased a valve setting site from, and that comes up to a one-time payment of $3,000 for that 1,200 square feet on that agreement. There should be the valve setting will look just about, and I didn't bring the picture, I apologize, but next time you're in Bridger and go to Belfry, when you get out there by Jerry Nash's property, right on, we have a valve setting there. Actually, north of Bridger, on the north end of the sod farm, there's a valve setting there, but minus this won't have buildings on it. the regulation that when we come into a town, we break off from the 12-inch to usually a 6-inch with MDU, drop the pressure way down, and then from that point, it's metered onto MDU, and then it's their gas and their pipeline facilities. And that's where you probably recall back up until 1986, it was all just MDU utilities. And then in '86, they broke everything up, and that's why we now have WBI Energy along with MDU utilities. So, is there any questions I might be able to answer for you?
On the property, the city property, that has the satellite dishes, who owns those?
The city owns the property.
I know, but who owns the satellite dishes? Is
I-
it leased?
They're
To put those-
abandoned.
Yeah, they're abandoned.
Well, they're not active.
No, they're not active.
And our 30 by 40 doesn't interfere with their position
I
where
just
they're
don't
at.
want one lease to come up against another.
Okay.
Unrestricted use.
Cable company, when they sold it, the new cable company, they packed up a mess.
Yeah.
All the cable hookups and everything just abandoned in town. They thought that.
And we'll gravel, as far as that too, on West River Street, when we get done crossing that, that's probably gonna need some surfacing, a couple loads of gravel put on it from our equipment and whatnot working on there. And I've talked to Chuck about, we'll keep the road, anytime we cross a public street, we've gotta keep traffic, one way or the other somehow. Shoe fly it around, reverse the procedure. But you never know when there's an emergency or somebody's got to get in there or somebody needs to get out. Because along with, go ahead.
Do you have a picture of the route that you're doing that they can post up for people to see the routes?
We have, it's actually the route is on the federal government's website. I don't have it, but I can, off the tip of that. And I have a map of how we're coming through Fromberg, but the total, you wanted to see the whole thing?
No, it's probably the Fromberg area.
Oh, here, I do have one, that I can leave with you, and I can email it to you eventually too, so that gives you an idea of what we're doing around the town of Fromberg. When we come around, when we get across West River Street and go down through the drainage there and come back up, there is a couple, we have to lower the road there. Gable Road, on Gable Road?
Yeah.
Gebo, okay. Okay. And everything in Dawson County is east or west. You guys took all the good names. And so we have to bore that road and the irrigation ditch, I think, on one side of that, but most of it will be all open cut. And we've worked with all the landowners along that route. We are also doing several road crossings, and we've gotten that permission from the Carbon County Commissioners to design road crossings on this project to do. There's 3 or 4 right in this area. Then we do a replacement section south of Highway 212 from this side of the Rock Creek south about a mile. And then on the other side of Rock Creek, we go up, go up to the highway, across the highway, and go east, northeast, all the way up through that subdivision. The 4th replacement project is way up there. I call it up on top where the new highway is going. There's about a mile and a half up there. And then the very end of the project starts on the Carbon-Yellowstone County line on the east side of the railroad tracks, and it goes up to the new overpass.
And I think if council, or anybody actually, wants to drive up West River and go past the old water tank, you can see where it is staked out.
Yeah.
Everything is staked out so that you know exactly, what they're
Yes.
doing up there, where it's at.
When is this supposed to start, and how long do you think it will take you to get you through Bromberg?
Well, there's been a bunch of route changing, and we are looking at the end of this week, the first part of next week, starting the route staking for it. The reason we're late in getting to you folks is that it took a while to us to in explaining to KLJ that when we come off of Chuck's property, we go across city property, then we go across West River Street, and they could not
Picture that.
picture that, and for some reason, well, what they had done is they had taken the city has given up 30 feet already for the south half of West River Street, so they assumed that the city had to give up 30 feet on the west side, so we weren't on city property. So they didn't understand why we needed the valve setting on city property when the pipelines were over here, so we got that straightened out. In 2 or 3 weeks at the most, we should be able to clear the right of way, string the pipe, and weld it up and put it in the ground. And then when it's all in place, then we'll do the hydro test. Now up at the valve setting location, there could be 100-foot square up there off the roadway that might go on for a couple months, because in doing a valve setting, you've got to pour cement fittings to set your staunches on, to set your pipe on, and everything. Everything comes custom built, so everything's got to be bolted together.
I imagine you're gonna have some pretty heavy equipment up there as well.
Yes.
So, I'm a little concerned because we've had some projects in town that have had some heavy equipment, and they've tore the hell out of our streets.
Everything coming in up there would have to be legal limit. Okay?
Okay?
And then on to get up to that project, our one access is off of McCormick Road. Come in McCormick Road, take the road that goes up to over the irrigation, that bridge, follow the canal over to the pipeline or that crew track, and go up to where we need to start. And so we can coordinate traffic through there. Any damage that our contractor would do is WBI will make sure that it's taken care of.
Can we see that in the contract as well?
I can get you a copy of I can get the city a copy of our contract with
Okay.
with the contractor.
It's not that I don't trust you.
Well, I know, but it's a construction project, and you never know when somebody's going to wander off right away.
Yeah.
And this being a FERC project, we have to stay really tight on where we say we're going to do the work, be in that area.
And so for like staging equipment and everything, it's just mostly gonna be right in
Be
this.
strung out down the pipeline.
Yep.
Right. We have rented a piece of property over on, it's called our Emerald Creek Compressor Station. We rented that from Fred. He used to be the old dentist, Marriott. And then we leased another 5-acre site from him to stage everything out there. It's across from that feedlot. And everything's gonna get staged there, and then as we need it, it will be trucked out of there to
Both end locations.
both end locations. On this setup here, we should be able to start on one end and walk equipment pretty much to the other end, jogging around. The big thing will be get equipment in. If we're coming from Elbow Creek, we might just be coming down the gravel road with a lot of equipment. But we still gotta hit that area by the high school and get around through there and whatnot. But I'll tell the engineer that we would need a copy of, when load restrict, how we're governing our contractor
Yeah,
in that situation.
thank you.
I've been around construction for a long time.
I'm sure you have.
And I'm not gonna tell you that something won't get screwed up. It's just,
Well, you will tell me they'll fix it.
they'll fix it, yeah. Which is what you wanna hear anyway. So, that's about all I've got, Shirley. So, so if you wanna, if you don't have any more questions, I'll sit down and let you get about your business. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see why we can't, come to a conclusion this evening, can't we? I make a motion to accept the contracts as written.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the contracts for the easement with WBI, and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All against, I guess, losing my track, my brain and mind here. All opposed. Okay, that motion is passed.
And whenever, surely you get them, all that paperwork, we asked, not to interrupt here, but on easements, we asked to have two copies
Right.
notarized.
Right. I've got
We have
those.
lost them in the mail before.
Okay,
And then, so once that's been signed and notarized and the paper there, the land right receipt, send all that back to me and then I'll write out the 3 checks and send them to you.
okay. Yeah, I've got all that, and you're lucky, I'm going to Bridger tomorrow, so I'll stop at the bank and get that notarized.
Oh, okay.
Can I get copies?
Yes. Do I make copies of all that? Sure.
And then I'll provide the city with a copy of the contract on
Thank you.
the fix and repair policy.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Do you have the map, or was it floating around here? I think I've got a copy of that in the office.
You can leave that with, you can have that and I can,
Yeah, I think I've got a copy of that in the office also.
uh-huh.
Old business,
I would like to ask Bill if the school has talked any more about, this, the pavement up there.
There, had to wait till Julie got her final figures, so she hasn't told me yet. And she hasn't given me the map of the school.
of the school property.
Right, so I
I've
can
got,
measure
I've got a survey map of
So
the
I
whole
can
school,
measure
all
what-
the school
what they're
property.
gonna pay and what we're gonna. That they want to do it,
That's in
but they have to
conjunction
wait
with
to
the
see
town.
her final figures.
Okay.
And are they thinking about doing that this summer?
Yeah, that's one of the summer projects.
Is it? Okay. That'd be nice.
Now, the first impression somebody has visiting the school is hang on to your head.
Other old business? We'll move on to zoning. We don't have any applications for zoning at this time. Correspondence, the only thing we had in correspondence was the application for, Grill Parking Riders.
And she's gonna revise that, right?
Yeah, she's gonna give us a schedule.
Schedule.
Yeah. So we're on to ordinance revisions.
What we're doing and setting this up is having public comment on all the proposed ones that are on the agenda. An open discussion, if there's comments from the audience, take those comments, then we'll proceed into the second reading on the ones that have already been on to first reading, and then I'll move on to the reading of the rest of Title I
Okay.
on first reading.
Do we have public comment after you finish
No.
or at the end?
No, you have it before
Yeah,
Okay.
we get into it.
so the, all of the revisions and the first reading of all of the ordinances that we looked at the last meeting have been available at the post office, on our front door, in the office at Senior Center. Any comments on?
I believe they're also on the website.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think so, were there any comments concerning those revisions?
Did we get any comments via email
No.
or mail?
Nothing on the comment sheet, nothing that I know of.
Taking these in order, second reading, Title I. This is regarding chapter 1, ordinance number 487. This is on for second reading, an ordinance amending Fromberg Code 1-1-03 definitions to add additional definitions. Be it enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-1-03 definitions is hereby amended to add the following definitions. County means the county of Carbon. Law denotes an applicable federal law, the Constitution, and statutes of the state of Montana, the ordinances of the town, and when appropriate, any and all rules and regulations which may be promulgated thereunder. Month means the calendar month. An ordinance is an act adopted by the town having effect only within the jurisdiction of the town. An ordinance is a municipal law that often imposes a sanction for violation. Owner applied to a building or land means and includes any part owner, joint owner, tenant in common, joint tenant, tenant by the entirety of the whole or a part of such building or land. Personal property means and includes money, goods, chattels, things in action, and evidences of debt. Property means and includes real and personal property. Real property means and includes lands, tenements, and hereditaments. Resolution is a statement of policy by the governing body or an order by the governing body that a specific action be taken. Resolutions usually apply only within the municipal government itself. Sidewalk means the portion of a street between the curb line and the adjacent property line intended for use by pedestrians. Street means it includes all streets, highways, avenues, lanes, alleys, courts, places, squares, curbs, or other public ways in the town which have been or may hereafter be dedicated and open to the public use, or such other public properties so designated in any law of the state. Tenant and occupant applied to a building or land mean and include any person who occupies the whole or part of such building or land, whether alone or with others. Written means and includes printed, typewritten, copied, facsimile, or otherwise reproduced in permanent visible form. This refers to the prior code that was in place prior to this amendment 1-1-03. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on today's date if it is approved.
Any comments? Any discussion on this?
Pretty straightforward.
So I need a motion to pass the second reading.
What we're putting it on for is approval on second reading. So you'll need a motion after each one for second reading.
Well, I make a motion, we accept the second reading.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve second reading of the revisions of the ordinances, and second, do I have all in favor? It's
Aye.
getting confused. All opposed?
Moving on, ordinance number 488, an ordinance amending Fromberg Code 1-1-04 construction to add a preface. Be it enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-1-04 construction is hereby amended to add the following preface. The following grammatical rules shall apply to ordinances and code of the town unless it is apparent from the context that a different construction is intended. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Motion we approve second reading of ordinance 488.
A second.
We have a motion to pass and approve ordinance number 488, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance number 489, an ordinance setting forth the codification powers for the Fromberg Town Code. Be it enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-1-08 codification powers is hereby added to the Town Code. 1-1-08 codification powers. Town attorney or his or her designee may change the wording of captions, rearrange sections, and change reference numbers to agree with the renumbered chapters, sections, or other parts. Substitute the proper subsection, section, chapter, or other division numbers. Strike out figures or words that are merely repetitious. Change capitalization and style for the purpose of uniformity and correct manifest clerical or typographical errors. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Make a motion to accept revision 489.
I'll second.
A motion second to approve ordinance revision 489, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance number 490. An ordinance setting forth the procedures for supplementing the town code. It enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-1-09, supplementation of code is hereby added to the town code. 1-1-09, supplementation of code. A, by contract or by city personnel, supplements to this code shall be prepared and printed whenever authorized or directed by the town council. A supplement to the code shall include all substantive, permanent, and general parts of ordinances passed by the town council during the period covered by the supplement and all changes made thereby in the code. Pages of the supplement shall be so numbered that they will fit properly into the code and will, where necessary, replace pages which have become obsolete or partially obsolete, and that new pages shall be so prepared that when they have been inserted, the code will be current through the date of the adoption of the latest ordinance included in the supplement. B, in preparing the supplement to this code, all portions of the code which have been repealed shall be excluded from the code by the omission thereof from reprinted pages. The codifier may make any non-substantive changes necessary to preserve the original meaning of ordinance sections inserted into the code, but in no case shall the codifier make any change in the meaning or effect of ordinance material included in the supplement or already embodied in the code. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Make a motion to accept 490.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept and pass and approve ordinance number 490. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance number 491, an ordinance setting forth the codification requirements for the town code, be it enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-1-10 codification is hereby added to the town code. 1-1-10 codification. At 5-year intervals, this ordinances shall be compiled into a uniform code and published. The recodification is not effective until approved by the governing body. This refers to the state statute which requires a 5-year codification. It's MCA 7-5-107, Parent 2. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Motion to approve ordinance 491.
The second.
Have a motion and a second to pass and approve ordinance number 491. All in favor?
Aye.
If I may explain,
All opposed?
oh, I'm
Excuse
sorry.
me.
No, no,
No.
okay. Once the ordinance committee gets together and they have completed all revisions of the current code, then there will be a ordinance approving the codification
Of all of them?
as is, yes.
Okay, good.
And then it'll all be in code form.
Okay, good.
There will be a separate book that has all the ordinances in order, okay, as I'm reading them tonight,
Mhm.
okay? Understand that codification procedure?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, moving on, I had a question from Aaron. What happened to chapters 2 and 3? Well, what happens is if we're not recommending any changes, they remain in effect,
Right.
okay? That's what happened to 2 and 3.
They've already been approved.
Well, no, we didn't have any changes to make, they were already law,
Yeah.
already in ordinance form. 2 is, just for your information, 2 is the town seal. There's no reason to change it. And 3 is references to general penalty. And that's going to not change. Okay? So, moving on to first reading tonight. Ordinance number 492, an ordinance repealing Fromberg Code 1-4-01, general levy. Being enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-4-01, general levy is hereby repealed. Topic of this code section is already set forth verbatim in Title 7, Chapter 6 of the Montana Compiled Codes laws. Therefore, there's no need to have a specific here. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
I make a motion we accept 492
For first reading.
for first reading.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion to, and a second to approve an, ordinance number 492 on first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ordinance number 493, an ordinance repealing Fromberg Code 1-4-02 maximum rate. Being enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-4-02 maximum rate is hereby repealed. The topic of this code section is already set forth verbatim in Title 7, Chapter 6 of Montana Compiled Laws. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Make a motion, we approve the first reading of ordinance 493.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, and a second to approve and pass ordinance 493 on the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All
Ordinance.
opposed?
Ordinance number 494, an ordinance repealing Fromberg Code 1-4-03 disposition of levy. Being enacted by the Fromberg Town Council, Fromberg Code 1-4-03 disposition of levy is hereby repealed. The topic of this code section is already set forth again verbatim in Title 7, Chapter 6 of the Montana Compiled Laws. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect 30 days from and after passage and approval on second reading.
Make a motion to approve the first reading